Hi, and welcome to your August 2025 Aquarius Full Moon Astrology Forecast. I'm Sarah with Life with Training Wheels, where I utilize astrology, tarot, and other spiritual and natural health tools to help you navigate how to become the highest and best version of yourself, to not shy away from the shadow aspects, the more negative aspects of life, and to learn to really get out of any victim mentality that you might be in, and to look at life with this awe and wonder, and seeing everything as a gift that is waiting to be opened and explored, even the tough circumstances that we go through. To see the silver lining in everything. That is what I'm all about. That is how I approach my life, and I want to help you approach your life in the same way, because it makes life sure seem more magical and fun. So if that sounds like something that strikes your fancy, please hit the like and subscribe button so you can get notified when I do come on for more. So I am a day late with this August full moon Aquarius forecast, but the energy is still very potent, very active. So if it is something that you want to engage with, want to learn how it may be affecting the collective and you and your personal chart, then stick around to learn all about it. And the energy this month really is potent. All of 2025 through 2027, I would say, is very potent energy, and August really is, I mean, all of 2025 so far has kind of been a train wreck and is setting us up for the next couple of years, but there are a few things happening at this full moon as well as later into the month that are really very rare things, and that are really setting us up for what is coming in the next couple of years. So I really feel starting in August 2025 and starting with this full moon, it is setting us up for that choice that we all have to make individually and collectively, what way we want our society to go. We are at that pivotal moment. We are in this, and you'll see that. I don't know if I'll get into it fully in this video or not, as I think I am going to try to keep this video mostly to the full moon. We will see as we get into it and how long it ends up being, but the energy in August really is, it really is rare, and it really is, the rarity of it is basically indicating to me that we are the chosen ones. We chose to be here at this time, and we chose to be potentially the change makers, because the rarity of some of the transits that are happening beginning this month is like once in a couple hundred years up to once in several thousand year occurrence. And the way they are all configuring together, I can't find a time in history that they have all, at least in recorded history, that they have all come together in the way that they are. So this is a moment where we are really at the precipice of the age of Aquarius and setting up this new age. Like I said, astrology is number one, a choose your own adventure. There's lower vibrations and higher vibrations of everything that is being offered to us, and it is up to us how we want to engage with this. And that is why I love astrology, is because it gives us kind of the roadmap. It lays out this energy pattern, as above, so below, and we individually and collectively choose how we want to work with the energy, choose to see what potentials could be coming down the pipeline, and choosing our own adventure. And I really think that August is setting us up for that, and what it's setting us up for, we need to choose what path as a collective, as a society, we are going to take for the next 100, potentially thousands of years, And that choice is going to be made over the tiny little individual choices that we make from now through about 2027. The astrology is really big for this time period. It really, really is. So, and you know, clickbait, right? Every astrology video, every new moon, full moon, to get you to click on the titles, you know, it's like once in a lifetime, or this is, you know, really big, or whatever. Like the language used is trying to get you to click on the video, and that's true. But, you know, a lot of things happen repeatedly, you know, maybe not, you know, a lot of things happen every month, just in different signs. You know, like astrology is kind of looking at patterns, and some things repeat. That no time in the sky is ever exactly the same as another one. So when you look at the picture as a whole, every moment is unique, but there are, the way the planets interact, it is repeating patterns, but that really is what makes this time in particular so unique, because there are patterns and conversations that are happening between planets that haven't happened, you know, some in 10 years, but others in hundreds, if not thousands of years. So it really is a big moment in history. And yeah, so this video, like I said, I think I am going to try to focus mainly on the full moon that happened yesterday, and then I'll probably be putting out a few other videos to talk about the rest of August later. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, let's do a refresher on what full moons are and what they represent. So full moons occur when the sun is opposite the moon in the sky and on the astrological wheel. And it is a time when we are being asked to, you know, oppositions ask us to look at the balance of things. So when the new moon happened, you know, a couple weeks ago in the opposing sign, the sun and the moon were together. Our emotions and our mind and ego and everything were aligned. Well, now that they are separated, we're being asked to look at maybe where we were too laser focused, not taking the bigger picture. So they are times of times of cultivation, times of reevaluating. So, you know, it's when whatever goals, seeds we planted at the new moon, they should be starting to come to fruition. We should be able to see what's working and what's not, and weed out what's not working. That is the opportunity that a full moon presents, is for us to be able to look at all the sides of something and see what weeds need to be pulled out so that our harvest can continue to grow and thrive and be the most abundant harvest that it can be. And if you think about it, that you yourself are the harvest, and the weeding that you're doing is, you know, letting go of those things that are no longer serving you. That is kind of how we look at full moons, and why full moons are a good time to not only celebrate the things that are going good, the harvest that is coming through, but also a time to really reevaluate and see what's not working, and, you know, choose your own adventure. Choose to keep those weeds there and see what happens, or choose to weed out the things that are holding, that you have discovered are now holding you back, and continue to grow at the pace that you want to grow at. So that's full moon energy overall. Now we want to talk about what full moons are at this particular full moon. So, okay. So I'm going to use this little tool here. So the full moon is here in Aquarius. So this full moon happens every year about this time, right? It's cyclical in nature, but the planetary configurations and how it's talking to everything is what changes every Aquarius full moon. So we'll be talking about that. But before we get to that, what does an Aquarius full moon overall mean? So Aquarius is the energy of the rebel, of the person who thinks outside the box, who doesn't want to do things according to the status quo just because it's how it's always been done. They are the forward thinkers. They are the energy. It's also the energy of like intuition and that connection to the divine, to the collective unconscious, to the collective as a whole, and really learning how to, the opposite is Leo, which is a sign that's all about itself, really. It's a sign that is about the heart. It's a leader. It's courage. It's learning who you are, deep within yourself. What are the things that you enjoy? What do you like to do? And Aquarius is learning how to take this Leo energy and bring it out into the world, to make the world a better place. How to bring your uniqueness into the world to make it better. So Aquarius is about the collective, but it's about you in the collective and the uniqueness that you bring. And so it's about all those things. So this full moon is highlighting that balance between, because the sun is over here in Leo, right? Aquarius full moon is about the balance between you, your heart, your passions, your the things that you love, really, just what makes you unique, what makes you, learning to embrace that and how to bring that and share it with the world. So Aquarius is kind of all about, we all try to put on this persona. We all, I think, in some ways try to be normal so we can fit into the group. But let's be honest, we all have a freak flag. We all are unique. We all have those things about us that we're like, well, nobody would like this. Nobody would understand. If I really showed who I truly was, people wouldn't like me anymore. Well, this balance is learning how to understand that oftentimes the things that people love about us the most is our unique traits, is our individuality, is our little idiosyncrasies here and there that we judge ourselves so harshly for, but others find endearing a lot of times. And then it is also the humanitarian. It is also that, like the squiggly lines, it is, it's considered the water bearer, but really, if you think about it more deeply, it is an air sign. So that water is really more getting the communication from the ether, from spirit, taking it in, translating it, and pouring it out into the world. So it really is a very spiritual sign as well. So the full moon is kind of highlighting that as well, kind of this ego of Leo. Leo wants to be in the spotlight. Leo likes to be seen. Leo can, on the shadow side, can kind of be selfish and things like that, whereas Aquarius is more detached, more in tune, rather than in tune with ego and selfish wants and stuff like that, more in tune with the divine and what is best for all, that type of thing, and like what your bigger purpose is. Like you have these individual interests and creative pursuits and things that you're very passionate about, but Aquarius is realizing that those passions come from something greater than yourself, and learning how to utilize them and bring them into the world to be seen and appreciated and things like that. So next at full moons, we usually look to see what aspect the sun or the moon are making to other planets. And this full moon is not making any other aspects. However, there is so much going on in the sky that we have a ton to talk about. So the way I like to approach it is, first I like to look at if the ruler of the full moon is doing anything. So Aquarius has two rulers, a traditional ruler and a modern ruler. So we're going to look at what both of those planets are doing. The traditional ruler is Saturn here. Modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So we have Saturn and Uranus, and they are both involved in this major conversation happening. And I don't know if you can see it, but this chart configuration is called a kite pattern. So it's, you have this sextile here, this sextile here, a trine going on here. And so first there's this mini grand trine right here. So this, I'll draw over it in another color. So first we have this mini grand trine right here, and then this bigger water grand trine. So we have a mini grand trine, and then a grand trine, and then this opposition makes it look like a kite. That is very overwhelming, but hopefully you can see the kite that I'm talking about. So there's a couple things to, there's a lot of things to talk about this chart formation. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the traditional ruler. We'll talk about Saturn. So Saturn is the Lord of time, right? The Lord of karma, represents like bosses, government institutions, authority figures. That's the word I was looking for. Those types of things. Government structures. It also represents in our own life, like slowing down, taking time, making sure things are on solid footing. So, and it is called one of the greater, it's one of the malefic planets. It is in an opposition here to this Mars, which is the other malefic planet. However, the more I learn about astrology, the less I like to talk about malefic and benefic, and even the idea of planets being exalted or in their fall. Like I think the stars as above so below, and the way energy is presented to us is all divine and for a reason. We have seasons where we are meant to move fast and everything is flowing great and everything like that. And then there's times where we need to slow down. Like Mars here just moved in August 6th, so a few days ago, into Libra, where it'll be until September. Mars is the ruler of Aries, its opposite sign, so it's considered to be in fall in Libra. And so a lot of people talk about how it doesn't like to be here because it can't move fast like it normally wants to. It is a warrior, it's our willpower, it is where we want to take action on things. And Aries, the ruler of Aries is the sign of the self. And so Mars also represents the self, right? But Libra is an energy of partnership and justice and fairness and things like that. So Mars might move a little slower, might have a little bit more difficulty here because he's actually taking the time, which he doesn't in some of these other signs, to think about others. And so I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's a time to be more selfish, to be more selfish when he's in Aries or his other signs, and to move forward faster. But there's also a time where it is good to be like, hey, wait a second, like, how is what I'm doing affecting others? So even though it's considered to be in fall or whatever, I don't like terming things good or bad, because the more that I'm learning, it really isn't good or bad. It's more just that we go through seasons. There's seasons where, like I said, it's good to think about ourselves. It's good to put ourselves first, things like that. But then there's seasons where we need to take a step back and we need to see how what we're doing affects other people. If for nothing else than just for common courtesy. So Saturn, the ruler of this full moon. Okay, back up actually. So this full moon is happening in Aquarius. So what you'll want to do to see what area of life, right? Overall, first and foremost, the full moon is highlighting the balance between the Leo areas of your chart and the Aquarius energies of your chart. So the first thing you'll want to do is find where 16 degrees 59 minutes, so basically 17 degrees of Aquarius is in your chart, and Leo, and what houses they're in. And that is first and foremost the area that you are being asked to look at, where you might need to balance out those energies. So then next we have Saturn, the ruler of this full moon, opposing Mars over here. So Saturn opposing Mars. So this is another opposition, another place where we are being asked to look at how we are balancing these two opposing forces. So overall, just going through this step by step. So like I was hinting at, Aries is the sign of the individual. It is knowing yourself. It is the I am energy. And whereas Libra over here is more the energy of partnership, of fairness, of well, really those two things, thinking of other people. So right off the bat, no matter what planets are talking to each other, this opposition between Saturn and Mars is highlighting that energy of self versus other. And then Aries, or Mars actually rules Aries. So Mars is, this energy, Mars in Libra is this energy of, I want to do things my way, but I'm considering, having to consider how it affects other people. And then Saturn in Aries is this restriction from authority figures, or just us personally needing to slow down and make sure whatever we're trying to move forward with and build with this Aries energy is built on solid foundation, and that we're slowing down and making sure we're not just acting impulsively and moving forward too quickly. So both of these energies, really Mars in Libra and Saturn retrograde in Aries, are asking us to slow down. But it might be this opposition. It could be that just this opposition, that things aren't working out as slowly, that we need to lay, like we're trying to move forward. We're trying to get all our ducks in our row. If there's any legal things we need to figure out, we're trying to move forward and figure those out. Saturn retrograde could be, authority figures that are maybe standing in our way. Like Mars is where our willpower, where our desires, we want to move forward with them. Saturn could be an authority figure telling us that, well, we don't have all our ducks in a row, or something like that. Or again, it could just be us not really knowing how to move forward, or not knowing how to lay the foundation. So we want to move forward, we're considering others, but there's something that's holding us back. This Saturn is also in conjunction with this Neptune, and Mars is also opposing this Neptune. So Neptune retrograde. So Neptune is the planet of dreams, hopes and dreams, kind of idealism, looking at things through rose-colored glasses. It can be the sign of illusion and delusion, or the planet of illusion and delusion. But really, the way I see this Saturn-Neptune energy combined is Neptune is asking us, because it's rare that Neptune and Saturn are conjunct at the beginning degree of Aries. That's one of the indicators that what we are moving through is massive for the collective and for us individually in our lifetimes. And so the way that I overall see this energy is that we are learning to take our dreams, our hopes and dreams, Neptune, and learning how to ground them into reality. Learning how to, Neptune is also tapping, it is our dreams, it is our hopes and dreams, but it's also this very spiritual energy. All the outer planets are very spiritual energy and tapping into the other realms and things like that. And so Neptune is where we can dream things, where we can really tap into our intuition. And Saturn, with it meeting up in Saturn, I think it's really helping us learn how to tap into that higher wisdom, that higher knowledge, learn how to take our dreams and really manage. Saturn is about the physical 3D world. Neptune is more about the 5D, the etheric, the spiritual realm, and our hopes and dreams and things like that. And it's learning how to it's learning how to manifest, right? How to bring our hopes and dreams and ground them into our current reality. How to access even, how to tap into ourselves instead of AI, and learn how to ground that into our reality. How to embody spirituality. How, instead of being so up here, so heady, and even people that have spiritual experiences on psychedelics, right? It's learning how to integrate those lessons or the big picture things that they learned in their psychedelic journey, or for people that are more into meditation, learn the amazing things that you can see in these meditative journeys, these altered states of consciousness, Neptune, and really learn how to embody them into our 3D world, which is Saturn, and Aries, how to make really how to embody that within ourselves and within our lives, and take it and build something with it. I think that's a lot of what this energy is overall, not just at this full moon, but just overall what this energy is. And particularly at this full moon with the Mars opposition, it's asking us to, consider others, consider how our actions, our desires are affecting others, how we can move forward, what partnerships we need to engage in order to make that happen. So the other thing to note about this opposition, This might feel frustrating, and on a collective level, this is really about the individual, our individual willpower, our individual desires butting up against the desires of the institution, Saturn, of authority figures, Saturn. So there could be, that could manifest in the collective. It could manifest that way for you personally, or it could just be, how do you lay the foundation for the things that you want to be moving forward with? But I think another important thing to note here is, like we were talking about with this being this kite, pattern, right? We have this trine right here, mini grand trine, this big air trine, and then this opposition. So before we go back to this opposition here, let's talk about this air grand trine. So an air grand trine trines are easy flowing energy, right? And it is easy flowing energy between Mars, the planet of action, willpower, desires, with Pluto, the planet of transformation, discovery, truths coming to light, hidden things coming to light, really going into the depths of the underworld. It's the planet of the underworld, really just going into the depths of yourself, and it's that transformation. It's shining a light on the darkness in order to heal it, and that is why it is transformative. So our individual action, our individual willpower is working with this desire for transformation. And Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. It is where we can really focus and obsess on discovering truth, where we can get laser focused on things. And that is in this trine and working well with Uranus over here. It's not going to draw it the way I want to. Which is the, modern ruler of the full moon in Aquarius. So, in this harmonious aspect, so these three air grand trine, this indicates that there is this nice, energy of Uranus is wanting to break free from something, being ready for change. It's where we want to break out of the box. And, Gemini is about communication. It's about education. It's about learning, thinking, the way we think, the way we engage with information that is being given to us, whether we're engaging with AI and transhumanism perhaps, and getting these chips in our brains, or whether we're utilizing our own connections, our own intuitive wisdom, our own sovereign connections to the collective consciousness, whether we're outsourcing that or insourcing it, I guess. It's this Gemini is also technological advancement. But yeah, so we're in this beautiful grand trine of the energy of change, of transformation, and of desire and willpower all working together. And then we also have this mini trine of Uranus sextiling this Saturn and Neptune, sextiling Pluto, and a trine between the two. And these are really what I want to get into in future videos about how big of a deal this mini trine is. But overall, I think it is really important that we have, because trines and sextiles are easy energy. It's where the energy is flowing freely. It's where we don't really have to try for things. It just it kind of is what it is. We are able to go with the flow of whatever is happening, which is beautiful. However, on a larger collective scale, it's beautiful, especially when it ends up that way in our own charts, in our own life. However, on a collective scale, what I'm learning is that the trines can be actually problematic. The trines can be where things like Saturn, the governments and institutions, can use these trines, an easy flow of energy, to not have resistance from people, from its people. So it sets it up so it is easier for governments and institutions and authority figures to kind of take advantage of the people. And that is really what I'm seeing overall in the astrology, and why I think we're at such a pivotal point is there is this beautiful harmonious aspect, but the powers that be, because it's so harmonious, can use it very easily to manipulate us, to take control of us. And so therefore, these oppositions, although a lot of people are talking about it being chaotic and, it potentially causing seeing big things in the collective and things like that, I think it is so important that we have this opposition to trigger us to really evaluate and make any changes that we need to make the most of this flow of energy, and to take a step back and say, okay, the energy is flowing easily, but is that what I want? Is it flowing easily and giving me the things that I want, the things that are for my highest and best good? And it's giving us that opportunity to kind of slow down and really take a second look at that. So with that being said, the kite, what is the most important thing about the kite here, and I'll highlight it again, I want to do the line, is that the kite is pointing and directing our energy to this Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So it's pointing us to really focus on this area of our life where we are being asked to start something new, start something big, start something a once in a lifetime. I'll look up here in a second how rare this connection is. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and having Neptune and Saturn, like I've said before, at this beginning degree mark for so long, going direct, then going retrograde, then going direct over it again, like it's a big deal. We are starting something big, and this kite configuration is really, this Mars is asking us to consider others, to consider our willpower, to consider, but it's focusing us not only on others, but it also, this whole configuration is saying where we really need to make these changes of Pluto and of Uranus and this air grand trine and new ideas, new thoughts, new technology, to really think about how it is working best for us, Aries, and ourselves, and how it is building, looking into future possibilities, Neptune, looking into the future, looking into what kind of world. I think this is really what we're being called to do, and especially starting at this full moon, really starting when these planets moved into Aries, but this configuration is really highlighting it, looking at Neptune, all the different possibilities ahead of us of where this AI technology could lead us, where transhumanism and robots and all this stuff that is being kind of thrown upon us, where that can lead us, where that could potentially lead to governments and institutions and technocrats and oligarchy, whatever, where all of that could lead them to taking control of us and us being more limited in our freedoms and things like that. Like looking at the big picture, utilizing Neptune and seeing all the possible negative manifestations, but also all the possible positive manifestations. Like number one, how we, are only using Aquarius and like Uranus and Gemini, like it's our electrical systems. It is not only is Uranus our and Aquarius, like literally our electrical grid and electricity in the sky and things like that, but it is also our own individual nervous systems. And so looking at how we are, only using like 2 or 3% of our DNA, and with the changes that are going on in the astrology, with vibrations rising and everything like that, I really think we are entering into a time, and I might sound crazy, and that's okay, I don't care, where our DNA is being upgraded, where we may have the ability to have more and more people tap into their psychic abilities, tap into their intuitive awareness, tap into the collective consciousness, where we don't need to use AI. We don't need to outsource our knowing of things to technology. If we really tune in to ourselves and learn to harness these gifts that are given to us, what kind of world would that be? And to use, not to say that technology is bad, but how to use it where we remain in control of it and it serves us rather than the other way around. I think, and maybe this is just a personal opinion, but the more we rely on technology, the more we dive into, oh yeah, it'd be a great idea to have my bank information in my wrist. It'd be a great idea to have, the internet in my brain or something like that. Like, we're gonna get dumber, not smarter. It might on the face be awesome to be able to be connected to the information that is the World Wide Web, but number one, it's false a lot of times. And then we won't be connected to our inner knowing, it's kind of really outsourcing God. It's my own personal opinion. But, so I really think that's, what we're being presented with this kite, focusing us in on this Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, is looking at the Neptune, looking at all the possible negative aspects of this technological revolution that we're going to be going through, regardless of which way we choose. We're going to be going through a technological revolution, but looking at all the negative manifestations and the possible positive manifestations, and then using Saturn to look at, not only as Saturn represents our authority figures and government institutions, but also how we can bring into our own life, into our own personal existence, bring these ideas into our 3D world. Saturn represents the 3D world, karma, the time, how we can take these timeless concepts and see into the future and see what we need, see the future that we want to be a part of, and the future that we want to manifest, and what we need to do to, in this now moment, to build it in our 3D reality. I think that is what this is focusing us on. So before moving on here, I just wanted to show, I spent a lot of time just there talking about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries and how big of a deal that is. So on this little chart is from astroseek.com, which is a fantastic tool, and I'll try to get some tutorial videos up about this site. But so you can search aspects. So I have here Saturn conjunct Neptune in the sign of Aries. And And the date range is going from August negative 500 BC through 2500 AD. So this aspect at this degree point has only happened 6 times. If we look at, how often they meet up in any sign, let's see what that is. That's only 132 times. Saturn and Neptune conjunct only has happened 132 times. So that's 3 pages worth. So about every, let's go to the last page maybe. So let's see. So looking at our timeline, so 2026 is when they will actually be exact. So that is one reason why this energy is kind of leading up to what is going to happen in the 2026 to 2027 time frame, because this is within a degree, which is why it's highlighted in bold on that other chart, but it is not exact. It won't be making an exact conjunction until February of 2026. So we're just getting a taste. We're just setting up the foundation for what we want to happen, right? So the last time they met up was in 1989, where they met up 3 times. I was 9 years old. Don't really remember what was going on then, if anything was big. And it was in the sign of Capricorn. So the sign of power structures and control and things like that. So I assume if I were to look up, the possible positive and negative manifestations of what that could bring versus what it did bring, it would probably be pretty fascinating. But before that, it didn't happen until 1953, 1952, 53, before that, 1917. So meeting up in any sign, it's fairly rare, but then meeting up in Aries in particular is pretty crazy. And even at that, it is the only time in recorded history, as far back, this search engine tool only goes back 500 BC, the only time ever that, yeah, this is huge. This is the only time ever that Saturn and Neptune have met up at 0 degrees, which is a critical degree of Aries. So the only time in recorded history, negative 500 BC through 2500, that Neptune and Saturn will be meeting up at the 0 degree mark of the entire zodiac. The beginning. Like, that's so crazy to me. And it should be crazy to you. Like, this is a big deal. It really is a big deal. We chose to live at this time. If you are feeling a call to activate or be an activist, which is the sign of Aquarius, being called, like I am, to help awaken people, to teach people things such as astrology, to learn to take control of their lives and not rely on some savior, whether that's the government or, learn how to tap into yourself and your higher guidance and have that individual personal experience with the higher realms, with God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. How to, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I didn't look this up before, and I looked up several other, but I didn't look this up. This is fascinating to me. Okay, so with all that I just discovered, I think I think that I am done talking about what is going on at this full moon, because that's a lot of energy. There are some other things that are going on behind the surface, but they aren't, exact or within a degree yet, and that is this Mercury Pluto opposition, which is a big deal, and when it is exact, there will be another kite formation here, so it'll be big. There's this trine between Mercury and Saturn and Neptune as well. A trine between the North Node and this Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, which those will be conjunct here in a few days. And that is an amazing, very beneficial. That's the two benefics planets that bring luck and prosperity and things like that, meeting up in the house of home and family. So that is exciting, and I will be doing a video about that. But I think so all of that is kind of moving under the surface right now. And yeah, you can see this kite pattern that is starting to form. Let's see. Right here with this Mercury-Pluto opposition, here is that kite. But it's not exact, so I think I am going to wait to talk about that until it is more exact. So hopefully this month I'll actually be doing more videos than less, and maybe shorter in duration, especially because this one is getting so long. But what I do want to end this on, since the big thing that is being asked to focus on at this lunation, this Aquarius full moon, is not only looking at where Aquarius and Leo are in your chart, but also, with Saturn being the traditional ruler of this full moon, and it being the highlighted point of this kite formation, and what we really should be focusing on at this full moon. I wanted to read the Sabian symbol for the 1 degree 19 minutes of Aries. If you don't know what Sabian symbols are, basically they are channeled interpretations of each of the 360 degrees of the zodiac wheel, and they can kind of give a lot more information. They're very well done. They are more recent. I can't remember when they were channeled, but a lot of people use them. A lot of people, including myself, find that they provide, in certain times, really good, deeper reflection on what is going on in the astrology. So I wanted to look this one up. And you always go to the next degree because it starts at 1. So 0 to 1 degree would be 1. 1 to 2 degrees would be 2. So, and I like, let me move this over. Can I do it while I'm recording? Hold on one second. There are many places that you can go to get the Sabian symbols. They are all written just a little bit differently. You can go to the original, how they were channeled, but I really like the way that this is from jamesburgess.com. I'll put a link in the description below if I remember. But so Aries 2, which is 1 to 2 degrees, the title of this Sabian symbol, which will be true no matter where you're reading it, is a comedian entertaining a group. So adjustment. So the universal is best expressed through planets in Aries 1 to 2. So this is what Saturn is trying to tell us. Adjustment to feedback. Becoming able to see ourselves objectively from another's point of view. Objectivity arises when we come to see that we exist within an extended sphere of reality, and when we can laugh at how insignificant we actually are within that inestimable cosmic world, we see how silly is our prideful self-love, and within the context of the greater picture, how irrelevant are our personal thoughts and feelings. It is a great leap forward on the path to realization when we realize self-importance. And then it goes on. A comedian reveals human nature. Life is the mirror that shows us who and what we are. Intuitively, the feeling of having our own distinctive mindset of beliefs, needs, dreams, and attitudes is subjective proof of our uniqueness of identity. Philosophers suggest that this is an illusion from our relationship with our environment, although most assuredly it has meaning to us. Yet there is the tendency to repress much of our uniqueness out of shame, fear, or other inhibitions that have arisen from external pressure. Much of what I was kind of talking about with the difference between, balancing the Libra energies and the Aquarius energies of our ego and ourself, and that of the collective and the what is highest and best good for all, and how spirit is manifesting itself through us individually and how we are needed in the collective. So the similarities there are kind of cool. Okay. To the soul, it actually matters very little what role we choose to play out, but probably because we seek self-reassurance, we repeatedly rehearse certain aspects of personality. These are naive attempts to experience life on our own terms. The comedian's task is to reveal other aspects, those which lurk beneath the gloss of what is socially acceptable, so that these denied parts can find release. There is no limit to the variations of expressions of our uniqueness, and no requirement to favor this over that. Indeed, it is important to experiment, and not judge one aspect of personality better than another. All aspects of self need to be promoted to discover the fullest range of potentialities. By laughing at humanity's funny ways, an entertainer softens resistance within us to acknowledge certain of our own unlovely qualities. Self-awareness. Although this process facilitates self-awareness, it does not guarantee it. Really, we need to reach out and attempt to understand the significance and wisdom of whatever comes up and is being shown to us. We can laugh with the comedian in order to release trivial tensions, or we can delve deeper to reach for hidden understandings, and then the release can be experienced on a much deeper level. We come across the same type of light-hearted revelation in so many different connections with people, and it is according to our preference whether we see them as idle diversions or find a glimpse of truth of transcendence within each seemingly insignificant event that we encounter. It's kind of what my whole page and life is about, is seeing the magic of everything that is presented to me in my life. Makes life a lot more fun. The clowning can be considered as either a frivolous entertainment or profound and widespread spiritual teaching. The choice is ours. Also, like I say, astrology is a choose-your-own-adventure, right? We're being presented with the energy, and we can choose how to engage with it. Whether to engage with it on a self-serving, individualistic, negative, purely 3D aspect of it, or a more transcendent self-discovery, learning the meaning of life, magical type experience. We get to choose. That is our willpower. Self-expression develops personal power. The power of personality evolves in the confident expression of the authentic self. Individuality arises out the arises out the polarity between affirmation and surrender of self as our worldview comes up against another's, and whether in anger or laughing gently, we are made to pause. The emergence of who we really are occurs as life, which perpetually holds up a mirror to itself through us and to us. This is why I love the saying, wherever you go, there you are. Like, who we really are occurs as life, and in which the way life is being presented to us. It's kind of that saying also of, whatever, you're holding a cup and somebody bumps you and you spill what's in the cup. Well, what spills out, materially, that could be orange juice, it could be coffee, whatever, but spiritually, that could be anger, that could be joy, what you are spills out. And if you don't like it, it's up to you to change that, not up to anybody else. Okay, so the emergence of who we really are occurs as life, which perpetually holds up a mirror to itself through us and to us. This is the essence secret, wrapped up in clouded mystery with its own conflicts and distortions that have yet to be released. What we see is nothing more than a reflection of our own inner nature. So that is kind of what the focus of this month is, and the focus of this lunation. So to bring this back into practical terms, you are going to want to look at where 16 degrees of Aquarius is in your chart and 16 degrees of Leo, and what houses and how you might need to balance those areas of life out, and how you're showing up in the world overall. And then as well, look to what house Aries in particular, this 1 degree of Aries, and the first degree of Libra as well in that opposition there. Look to see what needs to be balanced there, but really look to see, what house Aries is in, what new beginnings you in particular are building, and, how to dream it up, how to look at, as the Sabian symbol, how to look at what life is reflecting back to us and determining whether we like what we see or not, and kind of dreaming up what we do want to see and how to bring that into our reality. Having that realization is a big deal about creating what we want in the future, both individually and collectively. And the best way to make the collective and world changes are really to start within our own selves and within our own homes, and mastering ourselves before trying to master anybody else. So that is your August 2025 full moon in Aquarius forecast. If you want to sign up for, I don't remember if I said this at the beginning or not, but I am going to be teaching a 6-module course on how to go from basically zero astrology knowledge, teaching you how to pull up your own astrology chart, to learning what all these glyphs, all these signs mean, learning how to read the language of astrology, and providing you tools with that. If you do sign up for the waitlist, you will get a little cheat sheet of what all these glyphs mean. Then teaching you what the houses are, the signs, the planets, how to put them all together, going over your big 3, ascendant, sun, and moon, and then how to take forecasts like this, kind of lay them over your chart, see where they're interacting, what houses, as I'm telling you, to see where Aquarius and Leo and Aries and Libra are. By the end of it, you'll be able to identify that, as well as identify if these particular planets are hitting any of your and interacting with any of your natal planets in particular. And then again, I don't remember if I mentioned it in the beginning, but I'm also going to be starting a Patreon site where you will get like a 20-minute reading each month on your natal astrology chart with whatever it is I'm working on, whatever skill or knowledge I'm working on mastering that month. So it's like a monthly subscription to little mini readings continuously, where you can learn more about yourself along the way as I learn at mastering these techniques. So helping me help you can be a beautiful thing. And in addition to, for anybody that does sign up for the Patreon membership, I will go over these types of forecasts by sign as well. So I know I've covered a lot in here, and it's been a lot of big ideas, a lot of information, a lot of my interpretation thrown at you. I would love to hear in the comments if you think I am just crazy, or if you are seeing and feeling a lot of the same things and this just provides some confirmation for it, or how you're dealing with all of this, how you like or dislike how I'm presenting the information to you. I would just love any feedback you can give me to help me grow and become a better astrologer, and to learn how to serve you better. Until next time, I hope you are well, and give me a like and subscribe so I can show up in your feed again. Have a great full moon. Bye.